recent Ohio primary taught us anything, I think it is the importance of being organized and agile. Campaigns, to be successful, need to be capable of and willing to adapt plans quickly. We had less than 9 hours to do this when the polls were ordered closed for what would have been Election Day in March, and there were numerous twists and turns in the days that followed. And now, with the general election in November, less than 6 months away, it is time, if you haven't already, for campaigns to begin that planning and organizing. That includes things like timelines and fundraising and community research and preparing campaign teams and budgets. All of those things need to consider multiple scenarios for what voting could look like come time to vote in November. And with the understanding that it could also involve a scenario that none of us can fully anticipate right now. Consider this, even as restrictions are lifted and people begin to develop some sort of a normalcy in their lives again, how will they perceive efforts like door-to-door and large community gathering events or rallies, those types of things? It's one thing if restrictions are lifted and those things are permissible, and it's another thing if they will be completely comfortable from a voter's perspective. And there's already a lot of data that indicates many people will not be completely comfortable with those things for some time. Considering voters' perspectives also in terms of when you're doing all of your outreach and your planning for messaging is really going to be important. Voters' priorities have shifted. Their thoughts and their fears need to be considered in terms of job security and personal finances, family situations, health, safety. All of those things need to be of the utmost importance when considering any messaging or approach that a campaign is going to put out there. There are lots of things that can be done ahead of time. Organizing volunteers and training them is always really important and something that takes a lot of time. But considering what we may anticipate for November, think about organizing and training them in ways that maybe look a little bit different, especially in terms of organized phone and text campaigns and social media and other online efforts. Again, fundraising is going to be really important so that you can have the resources needed for your campaign. Another thing that can be done right now that I think is really important is identifying who your supporters are and helping educate them about the vote by mail process. I think it goes without saying that any successful campaign for the general election is needs to include a really robust virtual and mail effort. Knowing who your supporters are, identifying them, and ensuring that they are educated well in advance about that vote by mail process is really going to be important. Because let's face it, right now the fact is that you can request an absentee ballot for the general election. You won't get your ballot for a while, but that step can be taken care of right now. Voters don't have to wait, and campaigns shouldn't either.